One. Okay. So, anyways, goons, before we get started, happy St. Patty's Day to all y'all out there. Lance, Doug, and I would like to just, you know, say salud, be safe, and have a happy, well, actually, no, when you hear this, it'll be after St. Patty's. Just kidding. Anyways, hope you had a good St. Patty's. Bye.
Skull.
Hey, mutant goons from beyond, we're back with an all-new episode for Women's Month. That's right, if you got the stringent strength of the vagina, it's like a punching bag down there. Well, welcome back to an all-new episode. We've got, it's Lance and Ade, and I'm back again. They always get me back for these gross movies again, but I'm Doug, and I'm here to welcome you back to Slashers Podcast. That's right, your new favorite podcast for all your new favorite horror media, or older media for you dyslexic people. But anyway, we're back here. What could be more womany than Nekromantik 2, The Return of the Loving Dead? This is a sequel to Nekromantik that we did a couple of weeks ago. And Nekromantik 2, for all of you people that are kind of new to this one, or if you guys didn't listen to the first Nekromantik episode we did, this is a film that for the longest time was on one of those extreme movie lists. So every time, like, you get those edgelords and stuff, they're like, oh, I've seen like a Serbian film, and, I've seen violent shit, and I've seen Zombie 90. But Nekromantik 2 is always on that list. And the funny thing is, if you have the Blu-ray of this, it's a longer cut of the VHS tape. So I remember for the longest time, like when I was in high school, I used to hunt down like these obscure like types of, violent and kind of, obnoxious movies. And I remember seeing this on VHS, and it was never as long as the Blu-ray was. But the funny thing, Jorg Buttgereit, the director,
Nice.
no relation to Hitler, but he lives in Berlin right now. When he made this film, it was already kind of known about the first movie that it was like, oh yeah, you made a movie about necrophilia. The second film, the budget was higher. And the director on the Blu-ray, he even said that this film, the Berlin police found out about it, and they confiscated it, and they tried to destroy the negative, but they didn't find the negative when they raided his home. So,
wow.
this was an illegal film for the longest time until the Blu-ray came out. I think this one is nastier and grosser than the first movie.
Hey, Doug, have you were you like I don't know how you were, but when I was growing up, obviously, some of these movies that we like are hard to find. Were you like a con person, like a comic book con person, or cons in general? Because that's where I usually found my DVDs a lot of the time.
Yeah. In fact, I used to go to Cinema Wasteland in Cleveland, Ohio a lot, and there was a lot of bootleg tables and stuff, and they would always like find the obscure shit. Like back when I was a kid growing up, I think I started getting to like the obscure extreme cinema when I was like 12 years old or something. And the only way to hunt down these movies, like it was really word of mouth. But if you went to conventions and you found like bootleg movies, you know what I mean? Like the burnt DVDs and stuff, that was the only way to find these movies here. This movie, for the longest time, before that Blu-ray came out, this was one of those ones that really like stuck on VHS, and like the collectors, like the obscure, like basement dwellers were really kind of, hunting this movie down for the longest time. It was only available in bootleg circuits. But now that it's on Blu-ray, the actors on this one here too, they all kind of came out, and they found out that the girl, Monika M, she made the music for this one, and she does concerts making the live kind of orchestral music.
Oh, she does sing later on, right? Like I really wish I knew what the words were when she's having the dream sequence, and the piano guy does that weird moment where he does a.
Yeah, he was like the sexy sax guy from Lost Boys. Yeah, so Nekromantik 2, like going back onto this one here, and why I feel like it's great for like Women's Month is because the main character in this one is the girlfriend from the first one. And she was kind of known, like she was the necrophiliac in the first one, so that's really what the whole movie was about. But she kind of leaves her. She's like, I'm divorced, I'm breaking up with you, and I'm gonna take our little friend too. And so now she's back in this one.
It
was the same girl.
Oh,
she's the same character. Yeah, she unburies the boyfriend from the first movie.
Yeah.
Wait, so who's the second girl that was there later on when she sees
No, because the wife, that's not the wife. This is a completely different woman.
Is it? Because in the beginning, they
the wife does
back.
come back, and they never show her again. This is the part I don't like about the movie, because I was waiting. I thought that the wife and this girl would get into something. They'd be fighting over the body. She comes back later, and she's trying to get.
Yeah, because there's that scene where like literally comes there and she's like, oh damn it, got to his body first. Like it was.
Oh,
like, it was
Yeah,
like,
she
was that
missed
the
the
one there?
body. That was the wife from the first one. Yeah,
Oh, okay. See, they all look the same to me.
they
So,
do.
yeah, I'm
They're
saying.
all very germ. They literally all the women in this film look exactly the same.
yeah, because there's three
There you-
different women like that. Like the one at the well, basically we'll go into it, but Jason's in this movie, so Jason makes a cameo. Yeah, I was waiting for him to say I need my chips. But yeah, the actor guy in this movie looks like Jason from the podcast.
Oh my god, he kind of does. He really
Yeah.
does.
Oh,
So-
bless his heart. Oh, poor Jason. And you know what? Maybe and he's dubbing over pornos. So like, there you go. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I was shocked to see as much English that was in it that like at that time frame. Because like whoever the producer was of the pornos was like more. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
Well, 'cause there was an English woman. I mean, obviously an American that was making them dub over the
Well,
pornos.
because Americans make porn movies. That's what we do.
Yes, because
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
so classy here in America. Why
That
does it
ch-
need to be dubbed over? Can't you just tell like what's happening?
That's
If they're
like,
not making sounds.
este man scheiße. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fucking
I mean,
cool.
nothing like somebody going, oh, mm,
Yeah, but like,
ah."
wouldn't you like even if you don't understand the language, you can still tell what's happening. Like you don't need
Well,
to understand the language.
I don't think I've ever turned off a porn where someone's like, no, in fact, most of the porn I see on Pornhub is, ay, papi, qué rico, ay, and I've never turned it off because they're like, oh, I don't understand what they're saying.
And I will say, okay, so as a woman, I'm needed to make sure I was on this episode because it's really easy to go off the rails, everybody with this movie. But it is a very empowering woman's movie, and I think it is disgusting. I was throwing up in my mouth watching it at one point. I was gagging. I'm like, what am I doing? And the only reason every time she kissed that, she'd lick it. I'm gonna throw up now thinking licking. What was it covered in KY jelly? I don't even know. It was so fucking
No, that was
nasty.
Ultra Slime. So you can
Oh
buy
my
that. That's the same stuff they use
God.
in Ghostbusters too. So fun fact.
Yeah, yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
so nasty. But let me finish my
Oh.
sentence, Lance, and then you can continue. It's Women's Month. And so I defend this movie because it is a very empowering movie. It is a woman taking charge of her sexuality. It is a woman knowing what she wants. She is successful. She's a nurse. She's trying to find a relationship, but she's taking what she
wait,
can get.
she was a nurse? I
So
thought the first wife was a nurse, not this woman.
this woman's a nurse.
This
Yeah.
woman's a nurse too. They work at the same hospital. They're friends.
Maybe they all knew each other. There must have been a connection there between the two women because she knew about him and she knew not to follow him in the papers. But she saved the newspaper clippings because I think that she was just obsessed with him before he died. And then when he did die, she was like, oh, this is my perfect opportunity.
So
And-
were the group of women all nurses then? Later on, when they're watching the seal.
That's what I'm saying. Like she found like a little support group of necrophiliacs. Like I don't know. Like I
Well,
feel like
did-
they're all getting off, like they're all sitting around watching a porno together. That's
Well,
what it
that
felt
was
like.
my thing here. Like those girls, like, did they exist or no? Because they kind of disappeared all of a sudden. So I'm like, maybe she thinks that she's in a.
Well,
this-
he saw them, right? Because he sat down next to them.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question, Doug, because one of them, remember, was walking around with the head.
Yeah, and she puts that. She's like, "Oh, I'm."
Oh, I
gonna
think
go
they were
stick
okay
some
with it though.
coffin
That's
here."
the problem. That's the thing. Like I think this must be her like little covenant group of necrophiliacs. You know what I mean? Like they're all into it because like the second he showed up, they almost looked like they were turned off by like, ugh, it's a live one.
Oh, it's a man.
Well, that
He's
too.
alive. Ugh.
Well, and that's like I mean, because literally, so this one takes place right after the first one, and it's about our protagonist in part one is buried. Robert is dead, and a woman digs him up to have sex with him, which I find fitting and poetic for his demise because that's what he would have done to someone else, right? So good for Robert.
Well, he's more appealing now to them.
He's more appealing to these women. What is going on in like if you want to look at it at face value, like is this what's happening in Germany? We're digging up bodies now because I feel like now it's a reoccurring thing.
Everyone's
want
digging
men
up
doing-
bodies. Yeah.
They want men to be silent and quiet and just be a fuckstick.
Yeah, sometimes you do want that. I didn't blame her for that. So just sit there and take it, right? Like but that's how men are usually in that sense, right? When you're having sex and like there are a lot of males who just, they want to have it the way they want to have it. And you just be there. And so I'm not saying the two of you, I'm not putting you guys in that, but there are men who are like that. So what's so wrong with like reversing it? And then he's crying to his little ex-girlfriend in the movie, and he's like, she doesn't want me to move. Oh, poor baby. Welcome to our world. Like, just sit there and take it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
seriously. Like,
what's he complaining about? The fuck is that?
no, the men are kind of pathetic in this movie here, and that's the thing too. Like, it just goes to show you too. Like even the director said that movie is much more female themed here, and I think it is like a woman in power thing. I think the girl Monica M is way more powerful than like Madame Web and all these other superhero female based movies, because she knows what she wants. She's taking advantage of it, and yeah, it's. Is this one better than the first one? I'm not sure. I like the runtime of the first one because
Yeah.
I like an hour and 10 minutes. That's a sweet spot for me, especially since I'm getting older and working like crazy and stuff. I'm like, I wanted a good hour and 10
Well, there
minutes.
was less random scenes in this one, like where the part where he's running in the random field in the first one. You know what I mean? I think the director had more of a weirdly a direction for this one.
Well, I almost feel like in this one, what's mimicked was when she's singing that song, is mimicked in the scene with him in the field. But this one is much longer.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then the whole bar scene where he's falling asleep, like it just looked like another night at Tank's to me. Like
I feel like that's the perfect scene for a man, because you're always getting fucking really horrible fucking advice from your guy friend. Like that was literally that scene where that guy's like, "Oh, fuck her! Why is she like that? Fuck this, fuck that. Who cares about your happiness?" It was like, and he was drinking his sorrows. Like it was like it's clinical version of what it's like to be with another friend of yours.
Well, I had a weird thought watching this movie too. I know we're jumping around a lot here, but Nekromantik 2 really is one of those movies that just kind of jump. Like, there's no real logic. Like, the plot outline, that's basically what it is, with just a bunch of filler kind of artistic scenes. But Lance, let me ask you, since you're a bartender, I was thinking about this. I was stoned last night when I was watching it, but I was like, man, I got really deep into thought. I was like, is that what a bartender does when someone's so drunk they just kick them out in the street and expect them to drive home or just get home somehow? Is that what they do at bars? Like when they're so like shit faced at closing time, they're like, all right, go out. You find your own.
Unfortunately, maybe in other countries you could probably pull that off. Here in the States, legitimately we would have to try to get the keys from them. We would legitimately have to try to call a cab for them, and try to get them home, or even as far as maybe even getting them to their phone and seeing who's actually in their phone that they call the most, and see if they can't get a ride home. Because because technically, if they go off anywhere, like let's say even they even got in their car and they murdered somebody by accident, I'm responsible for that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh
yeah, the bars are liable for that.
Yeah, and not even just not even the actual bar. Me, like I would be condoning to helping him getting into his car when I knew he was messed up or any of these things. And like they also had like a $500 fine plus getting fired, not alone that you're an accessory to murder. It might be manslaughter in the sense that I would get tagged for, but I mean in general it's better off to take their keys, do what you can, and that's why a lot of times we have to be very aware of how they are when they first come up to the bar. Like if they're already fucked up, I can refuse them service because it's like, nope, you're too fucked up.
So that's why the security guard at Tanks was like, you better watch her, when you hire was like stumbling and mumbling all over the place. Last night I was just like, I was fixated on that. I'm like, man, what the fuck do they do? Like, if that guy was to drive home, this is Germany. Like, what do they do? I don't know. I was just on that for like a good minute here, but that's like later on in the movie. But yeah, so going reeling it back. to the beginning of this movie. It kind of starts off with like the flashback scene to the first movie. So like the first 6 minutes of the movie is like the first movie. You know, the guy's
death
like,
scene for the guy, right?
yeah, waxing his. Well, he doesn't wax his carrot. He like stabs himself and he comes. You know, hey, if I could come ropes like that, I'd be the Spider-Man of Cocktown. I tell you what. But you know, that guy did some good stuff there. But yeah, so we get that in black and white. So if you didn't like it in color in the original, then you get it in black and white here. Yeah, so and then you cut back to them digging up the grave here, and there's not a lot of dialogue in this film. And the
No.
thing with that too is that they shot it on 16 millimeter film, so you know that helps because you know 16 millimeter film and editing audio, it's a pain in the ass.
Do you think all
But
the budget went into the actual body?
Yeah, I think the budget went into the actual body, and there's another thing too. Like I picked it up just from like an editing standpoint, but there's a scene in this film later on because she digs up the guy from the grave, and he's like a rotting corpse. He looks way nastier than the corpse in the original movie because the original movie was like a skeleton.
Yeah.
So this one you see it, he's like all gross and nasty. And I'd hate to say it, but I listen to a lot of like true crime podcasts and crime stuff on YouTube. And a lot of people in this film, well, the director at least, he must have like watched footage of like decaying corpses and stuff because this is like the most realistic looking corpse I've seen. Like if you watch like the Traces of Death or Faces of Death movies, anytime there's like a corpse that's like in water or bloated, they're always like black and bloated and really nasty looking.
Yeah.
And this is like the closest thing I've seen to that. The crazy thing is like this guy has his dick intact, so it's not a metal rod pipe like in the first movie. It's a
Oh, that was the worst. That little raisin hairy dick. Oh my God, was disgusting. Just
It was great when he looked in the refrigerator at that one point later on.
and he's
Oh, yeah.
holding it on the plate. I love how she wraps it on the plate. I go, girl, you know, if you're gonna keep that in your refrigerator, like put some tinfoil over the top. Like, what are you doing? And
I don't
plus,
know.
why is he pulling her leftovers out? Is this something we do in Germany? I don't know. But I'm not going through people's refrigerators.
He must have thought it was chocolate cake or something because that's she wrapped it like a leftover birthday cake.
Or leftover like actual meatloaf or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's like, oh well, you know, uncircumcised dick judge, you know, I'll put this on the
Maybe he
shark
thought it was
refrigerator.
sausage.
Is that what
Well,
he
You
thought
know?
it was, sausage?
Probably because he's doing breakfast, right? So I mean,
What sausage
technically,
has pubes?
you
that's what
never
I'm
know.
saying. I had hair on it. And that was the most and you know what, that's what drove me crazy because the other corpse in the first one didn't have anything on it, and that one did. And I don't know what's worse, like looking at it like that, like, like, and why are they so hairy? Does nobody shave? Is this like a thing?
Nobody shaves, nobody's circumcised over in
Not in
Germany.
that time frame. What are you talking about? Like, and also European.
That's disgusting. Just shave it off. I don't want to see. Oh. How do you
You're
go
so
down on a
American.
dick? How do you go down on a dick with all that hair on it? I just want to say that right now.
I don't. Well, at least you know she probably thought it was like, hey, free dental floss.
Yeah,
So
flossing. Am I flossing my teeth for free today? Like, what is happening? Sorry. Sorry to those of you who are free, whatever. I'm not trying to disparage anybody today.
yeah,
It's
I'm
Women's
not
Month.
discouraging either. This is Woman's Month. If you want to have a
It's,
hairy bush down there, you know,
Yeah, I
hey,
know.
and I don't have a hair. Like, that's the thing too. Like, men are so particular. Like, there's no hair on me whatsoever. So there's that.
No, and TMI, I don't have hair either because I always thought it was like, man, it's just no
I
unshaven
love
for
the
me.
fact
Is
that
the way to go.
Abe's given up the fact that she is hairless twice in 2 different episodes now.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to eat a peach that has fuzz on? Well, peaches do have fuzz. You
Yeah,
know
I was
what I
gonna
mean?
say
But
what?
you can take the peel off the peach.
Yeah, you
There's
can take
that.
the peel off a peach. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the point. I'm not even saying that because I want people to know these things. My issue is that like I have an aversion to body hair. It's disgusting to me. So I don't want anybody around me with it either. Like you can have it, but if I'm having these relations with you, then I feel like you should bestow me the same courtesy that I bestow to you and get rid of it.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that Ade's partner is hairless now.
Yeah, there you go. by force. Just drug them like in the movie and then shave them. So,
Well, next time we take their head off and put another one on, Like I said, it's a very empowering moment here.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. See, so for Women's Month, shave your bush. Even if you dye your underarm hair green for St. Patrick's Day and stuff, it's still okay. Just shave your bush.
So what did you two think about the ideal that it seemed like, obviously it was like almost like she had a boyfriend, right? Which is with a dead corpse, with the guy from the previous movie, which ironically he was left for a different dead corpse. And then he was almost left again for a live corpse this time.
Oh my God, when she's
And she's like in the dilemma of thinking of like, oh, should I be with my man here or should I be with this guy that I just met type deal? And it was like that weird dilemma, and which actually plays in the end technically.
Yeah, it just shows you. It's like, man, you could get laid as a corpse too. Some corpses are getting more pussy than living people. But yeah, and
Sad
then
for you living folks.
this whole thing too, like her thinking about excuse me. Oh man.
You're right there, bud.
Too much corpses.
pollen.
But yeah, so the pollen, yeah, the winds are crazy out here. The Santa Ana winds are crazy.
Anna.
Santa Ana.
Oh, also when she in the beginning thing, when she first has her first intercourse, I guess technically, with the corpse, I swear I thought it was kind of funny, but not funny, but like more of like, did she go down on him, and then did it excruciate any kind of semen or pus, because she looks like she was actually choking.
And that's when she was doing her puke scene, right? Because she like goes down
Yeah.
on him, then she starts puking. So
I was like, I go, did something come out?
It's
you tell me. You want to suck
an excretion. It's an excretion, Lance.
Either
and,
or. I'm just saying.
You want to suck an uncircumcised corpse's dick? You tell me if you throw up.
It's not even hard.
Yeah.
There's
that's the thing.
nothing worse than a limp dick, I swear, when you're trying to go down. How did it get released? So obviously this is going to go to theaters. How did they release this, Doug?
Oh yeah.
So when they released this, it was on it played at like local little theaters and stuff like that, and that's when the police found out about it. So the German police raided your Budgorite's home, and they were trying to destroy every element of this film. So they confiscated everything, but they couldn't find the negative, and he hid it.
Wait, was there only one copy of this? Is this guy like literally going for every theater and like showing it randomly?
Yeah, he would show the negative, and the thing is, he had the negative in like a storage or something. And so when the police raided his home, they tried to destroy the negative, but they didn't. And that negative wasn't really like discovered until this Blu-ray release came out, because that VHS and like the earlier DVD releases and stuff, it was a much shorter version.
I was actually expecting to see because I think you were right. Like it's weird not seeing the other, I guess wife or girlfriend. I don't know if we've ever really.
No, you see the wife. The wife, and this is what pisses me off, because I think this is what could have made this an even better film.
Would have made it more cheese, man.
More chisme, exactly. And we all would have been like, oh, we're waiting for this.
Well, we know the two people who love the cheese in this room.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So at the beginning of the movie, after Monika M, which I found hilarious, the last girl did the same thing, and she didn't want to show her last initial. After she buries the body and she takes it home, Robert's wife from the original, and the same actress, she comes to the grave and she's like, what the fuck? I think she came to dig him up and take him. And it's gone. So I thought that she would resurface later in the movie to be like, bitch, give me back my man, like kind of thing. She never comes back. Like there was so many good opportunities. Like we could have had a really good, like she could have showed up right at that final scene. And then like, oh, this could have been like a whole thing. In the final scene, after she was sawing the guy's head off, and she's like, well, where, you only gave me this. Where's the rest of him while I have his head? And they could have just shared him and lived happily ever after.
Yeah, then it could have been a lesbian love story after that. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's even sexuality at this point. It even matters when you're dealing with necrophilia. I think it's just the fact that the person is dead.
Yeah,
as long as they're dead, yeah. Like there's no I don't. Is this a thing? Is necrophilia a thing? I don't even want to Google it on my computer. Like, do
It's
people?
not a thing, but you want to know some fun facts about this. There's a picture that's pretty prominent. It shows up in the background a lot during the sex scenes and stuff.
Oh,
But
like the one.
yeah, here it is. During a sex scene, there's a drawing by Karen Greenlee, an actual necrophile. She worked as an apprentice embalmer and was arrested for stealing a hearse and interfering with a funeral. She also confessed to having sex with 20 to 40 corpses. She describes herself as a morgue rat and considered necrophilia an addiction. So I guess it is an addiction out there for some people.
I mean, if you're into it, you're into it. I mean, whatever. I mean, like, like who am I to tell you your shit's
This is
weird
like
or
I'm
not
not
weird?
sex shaming anybody here today. We're not.
Well, no, because I mean, like legitimately, like they're fucking dead. They don't give a shit. It's not like you raped them. It's not like
It's
you took
that
advantage
is
of
a
them.
violation. It's a violation
How is it a
of
violation?
Well, the corpse can't say anything, I
because
guess.
Yeah.
a corpse can't give you
Oh,
consent.
give you consent? Is that what it is? It's like you
And
can
not
fucking
only
inanimate
that,
an
no,
object and it doesn't
but
give you consent.
think of the okay, so this is my perfect example, and I've talked about this before. When you watch Contracted, I love because I'm not I you know I'm so sick of zombies, but I love Contracted because it's such a great way of like introducing of how a zombie apocalypse can happen because people are fucking perverts and they're fucking dead bodies and contracting whatever disease and then just fiddling along to whatever will fuck them later. Like my thing is that there are germs afoot. This
Mm.
is not clean.
Eh.
Anyway.
What did you guys feel about the fact that the end of the movie legitimately? I mean, I wasn't shocked, and I was actually assuming it was going to happen, but that she was pregnant with Mark/Jason's
Well, if they made
kid.
Necromantic 3, and if she's stillborn, she's like, oh, I mean, it could go in really fucked up places if they did something
Ooh,
with
see that would be an interesting way where it wasn't sexual. That would be you're almost going in a psycho movie style wise, but
Yeah.
with like a child version of it, or the mother version child. So Doug, would you say like this guy's I guess career/film work is more like collectible on what kind of level? Like, I mean, is he like so like sought after only because it's such
Yeah, I don't know the right
oddity,
word for
or
it.
It's so niche. Yeah.
It's very niche. Like he's like, this movie is because in the Blu-ray he like does the intro. Like this movie, if you were to cut out the gore scenes, this is a true romantic love story.
honestly on the basis of it? I mean, if you think about it, it's a girl who finds somebody, she's into them, but obviously there's reasons why she shouldn't be with him, and then she meets some other person who meets all these other quote unquote normal criterias that most people would accept, obviously being alive and
Mhm.
so forth. But then she starts thinking to herself, why do I have to like deal with those kind of consequences? Why do I have to be with somebody that I don't want to be with because he doesn't turn me on, he doesn't make me feel the way I want to feel? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like in general, like I mean, he's not wrong. If you take outside of the fact that it's a dead person and a live person, you know what I mean? It has a lot of continuity to what most people go through. Like, it's like,
Mhm.
why am I with this person? Who am I with? What am I allowing myself to be okay with and not be okay with?
All right, yeah. So that was Necromantic 2. I definitely say check it out. It's not streaming anywhere except Shudder. And it is uncut on Shudder because it's the same runtime. So do yourself a favor, watch them with family members over, preferably have dinner and watch them and say, this is one of my favorite movies of all
Make
time.
Maybe
sure
give
the
yourself
kids
some.
are up in center, up in front of the TV.
Maybe watch them not consecutively if you're not ready for that.
Yeah, and like I said, to just prepare yourself because the first one's shorter, but I feel like the second one is just nastier because this, I know it's like liquid latex and stuff as the corpse, but man, when she's chopping up that body in the bathtub, it still made me
Yeah.
nauseous.
And all the goons are coming to Orlando for Spooky Empire coming up. So if
Yeah,
you
can't wait.
guys are in the area and you would like to join Spooky Empire and you come out and see us, we may have a sticker button to give to you. So please, 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 please come out to Spooky Empire, Orlando, and enjoy yourselves. And maybe you'll see your favorite, slasher spot hosts.
Yeah, don't be shy. Trust me, we got stickers and stuff, and a lot of us we can talk. I know Lance, like You meet him, it's
Oh.
like, oh, you're Lance from the podcast.
Yeah.
And Lance will be talking to you for
Lan-
20 minutes. So.
You'll be there all day, so just have a good time with
Uh,
that.
Also, please subscribe to our YouTube, our Instagrams,
TikTok.
Facebook,
Mhm.
TikTok.
Before it gets banned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, very true. But like hit us up on all those things. We try to make sure we're doing all the things. Our Patreon, which we also, I mean, what is it? As low as $1 to join
Yeah.
to get all the extra information from us. So
Mhm.
help us do that so we can help you do more stuff and keep us doing it. We all have real jobs and all that other stuff, but we love doing this as our enjoyment, and to help us do more stuff like cons and all the stuff, because that's going to help us out with a lot of stuff that we're doing and talking to other people. And let us know how you feel about this show, all the shows, and love on us. We need it.
Yeah, definitely. And we
Really.
love you guys. Thank you so much for all these years of listening. Maybe it's just the Pisco hitting, but thank you guys all for, hearing us blab and barter on these movies. So I hope you come out listening and, find out something new. It's like, oh, now I want to see Nekromantik too. You know what I mean? Just like some of those obscure stuff or
Yeah.
movies in general, because I think that's a really fun pastime. So stop being so cruddy. Like I feel like a lot of people can identify with Monika M in this movie, where it's like you're not having sex with corpses, but you're living a life of like artistry.
Or you are.
Yeah, or maybe you do. I don't kink shame. But yeah, don't be afraid to live your life like how you want to, and how, if you have true artistic merits and stuff, live it that way, because life is short. Next thing you know, you're gonna have gray hair, you're gonna be an old hag, and you'll be looking at the mirror and like, man, where did my life go? Why didn't I do what I wanted to do? Why didn't
Wait for the age joke somewhere. Age joke.
No, I'm looking at myself because I had
No,
gray
no,
hair
no,
this
not
morning.
not you, Doug. I was waiting for aid. Usually, this is where
It's
she
not even
chimes
that.
in.
No, this is like we do this for everybody, and we have a great time doing it. This is art, and as much as people want to say shit about extreme films, which are very difficult to get through, they're not easy, and they're not everybody's cup of tea, especially not mine. But I watch them for the show, and I love my co-hosts, and I know that there's something to be had of this. And honestly, I would say the Necromantic 2 probably has more commentary on it than the new Pro remake, but that's just my 2 cents. So
Mm.
having said that, Doug.
Oh man, well I love being on this episode, back again with you guys. You got new fresh air, but without that being said, you got Lance, we got Ade. We're signing you off. So goodbye and good die.
Bye.
Die.
And have sex.
Oh, that too.